Hello and welcome to the Darkened Room of Music Conversation.
I'm Darren.
And I'm Chris.
I'm Thomas.
Who?
I don't know. You let me in, so...
So you may notice something a little different about this episode. This is Thomas, my brother-in-law. We had him in to talk about the 90s. He was a teenager in the 90s.
Yes.
And since we were in our 20s, we thought, let's bring in a little perspective of someone who grew up with the 90s.
Yeah.
And not just enjoyed it in the 20s. So yeah, that's what we're going to do here. I do want to say that we did the two parts of the first two parts of the 90s episodes, and we decided that part 3 is going to be too encompassing. There's too much music to cover. There's too many genres. You've got the grunge, and you've got like what else? What am I leaving out?
The Lilith Fair stuff.
The Lilith Fair stuff. Yeah, I mean there's
metal.
So much stuff to cover in the 90s. We can't do it in one episode. So this is going to be an ongoing series. We're not going to number the parts. We're just going to do them, and we'll release them as we go. And when we're sick of talking about it, we'll stop.
And the 90s ruled, man. I love it. In retrospect, I think it looks better and better in the rearview mirror.
Yeah. All right. Thomas Ward. Not only is he my brother-in-law, but he's a multi-talented stage actor and screenwriter. Got his master's degree at the Alabama Shakespeare Festival. Mm-hmm. Did a lot of stage acting, including a play called The Unseen, off-Broadway in New York City. Wrote 3 screenplays that were produced into movies, including one that he wrote about his experience as a stand-up comedian. He kind of used it as inspiration anyway.
Right.
It's called International Falls, starring Rachel Harris and Rob Hubel. You can actually find that like on Amazon and on Showtime.
And it rules.
It's great. So that's the latest thing he's done. So yes, Thomas Ward.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate you sitting in with us.
Absolutely.
So, Thomas, let us know what it was like for you. How old were you in 1991 when Nirvana's Nevermind came out?
Okay, God. I was born in 76, so like in 91, that was my sophomore year, so I was 16.
16.
Wow.
16,
okay.
17, yeah. And I remember, I have a couple, like I vividly remember seeing that video for the first time, and it just being on in my little TV room where we lived, and it just stopping me in my tracks, just like that. And it's because it scared me, honestly. I was such a sheltered little church kid, and Nirvana freaked me out in the best way. It was so wonderful. Because it was like the day before it was all Bon Jovi, and it was just the popular stuff.
I'm glad you said that, because I was curious. What were you listening to up to that point?
It was all, I say Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
It was just what was popular.
Like in the rock.
I was all Rush.
That's the right answer.
Some Aerosmith and Billy Joel. I was
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I was nurtured on like Billy Joel and a lot of like Peter, Paul, and Mary as a kid, and Simon and Garfunkel. So I was really into like Paul Simon and pretty much all my music taste came probably from my older brother, and then my sister would slide some, Lisa and Cult Jam in there. Just to keep me rounded. And but yeah, so it was all, and so like it was after 91, Nirvana was really when I started buying music, I feel like, or before that, and Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Before that was Rush, Pink Floyd.
There you go.
Aerosmith, Billy Joel. Probably.
See, he fits right in.
No doubt.
And then I also remember the day sitting in my friend Robert's Ford Explorer, and he put Pearl Jam in the first album.
Yeah.
And I remember reading it, looking at it. I remember that so vividly. And then I feel like that's when I started to become more a fan, I guess. It's like I became a huge Pearl Jam fan.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Nirvana, I listened to them, but I wouldn't say I really became a fan, like knowledgeable, learning about them, listening to them really more until later into my 20s.
So why do you think that connected with you at that point? For instance, we were in our 20s then.
Yeah.
If you would have been, let's say, 23, do you think it would have hit you in the same way?
I think it would have hit me differently. I think I would have had a, and again, based on my life, my upbringing, etc., I think I would have been more ready for it. I would have been a little more open to it and not scared of it. Because when I say I was scared, I mean, it's like, it's embarrassing, but it's true.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not allowed to like this. I'm not supposed to like this.
And it made you like it like twice
it made me
much,
want
right?
to see it even more.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
All right, so you said that Pearl Jam, you got the whole 10, I guess, CD, cassette, what was it?
CD.
CD,
for
okay.
sure.
And you dove right in lyrically. You were there. They were your boys, right?
Yeah, and I think lyrically, I'm glad you said lyrically.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what, like, for a teenager versus like a 25-year-old, 23-year-old, I needed a little more literalness, I guess, in my music. And Pearl Jam, it's not, especially 10 is I think not that abstract as far as the lyrics go. They're beautiful. I love every song,
Yeah.
But I guess I have more of a sense of what the lyrics are about as opposed to Cobain,
Right.
where I'm like, you're not giving me anything, man.
Right.
These are just
Which was part of the
sounds.
allure of that, too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think I was already beginning to find my way into acting and some writing a little bit as a teenager, and so I think having a more complete kind of picture painted, with story, with character, Jeremy,
Right.
Alive, like even before I knew the real story of Alive, I was making up my own.
Yeah.
Because it's so it's such an outline. There's all the bullet points are there for a story. So
No doubt.
I think that's probably why I was so instantly gravitated to Pearl Jam. And Nirvana was kind of like this thing that I didn't feel, that I almost didn't feel smart enough for it in a lot of ways. And that's all those are my issues, So.
So in retrospect, you still love these bands, right?
Oh, huge. Yeah. And I tried to, like, I've tried to educate myself more because I was, I was basically just listening to whatever made the charts.
Sure.
I had a few friends.
Up until that point, right?
Yeah. And even at that point, because once grunge blew up, I kind of just listened to what grunge kind of made its way to me.
Yeah.
I had a few friends who were in bands and stuff who were kind of more nerdy and into more obscure things, but I never, I get more obscure and nerdy about movies, I guess, maybe, but if anything.
Sure.
But so it was. I'm trying to think like where. Oh, and like a band like Candlebox. I saw Candlebox open for Rush.
Yeah, we did.
We were at that show.
That was in Murfreesboro, right?
Yes.
That was like.
We were there.
That was one of the best shows. That was so great.
Yeah.
And so I still like, and I really liked Live. And
Yeah, that was the question I was going to ask. Like,
Yeah.
what did you, as the 90s progressed?
Live.
What did
And
you
then
latch
Alice
onto?
in Chains. Alice in Chains was one where it's like I had the Jar of Flies CD, and I listened to that thing ragged. Because again, there's that Rooster. It's like it's a story. It's like it's a whole short story.
Yeah.
And so that's I really gravitated toward that, and then it was like, and then it's funny, like with Soundgarden, I didn't. I loved Black Hole Sun, and I loved that everything that was released off of that, but I never really got deep into them until later, till years later. So
you still listen to those records even now, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it like somewhat comforting to listen to music that you grew up on?
Oh, big time. It is.
It really is.
And Smashing Pumpkins.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
I love that too. That's what I love to drive around loud.
So yeah, through the 90s, did you latch on to bands like Matchbox 20 or even someone like Beck? Did you get into that stuff? You were mainly into that.
It was mostly the
grungy
grunge,
guitar,
loud
rock. Yeah.
What about Sponge? I think they were an underrated band, in my opinion.
No, I
never got into them.
Yeah.
I probably
never
would love
too late.
This is really why I'm here. I want to leave with a list of shopping lists.
Sponge, Running Pinata, one of my favorite records of the 90s.
Awesome.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, in fact, this whole series is going to be a shopping list for anyone.
I can't wait.
Maybe who didn't live in the 90s. Maybe they're too young to have grown up in it.
Yeah.
This is going to be like a discovery for them. They can follow the path through the 90s and discover some stuff that was good that, maybe time has kind of forgotten.
Yeah, perfect. That's awesome.
No, we were on the radio back then and when grunge broke.
I know. I was listening.
Yeah. and what was funny was, when you're in your 20s, you're a little more opinionated than, say, somebody who's 15 or 16, as far as like musically, because we've heard a lot of music at that point. We lived through the 80s and everything. And it was kind of unusual when Nirvana came. It was like a bomb going off all of a sudden. It's like, whoa, this feels different. There is something going on here.
Right.
And, it took a while. We did an episode about that, which you can find up here, that
right there.
91, 92. It took a while for it to totally commercially speaking for that to completely take over. There was this little weird period where Ozzy Osbourne lived safely with Nirvana and stuff like that. But the impact that it had was crazy. And what's so unusual about that is that it was almost like a vacuum cleaner just sucking all the crap out all of a sudden. and then it didn't just open the door for the heavier side of things. Like we talked about, the female, I don't know, it just made music more open-minded, I think.
Yeah.
Which I think it really needed.
Yeah.
It really did. So yeah, that's just an observation of somebody. And I'm going to be honest. I was a metalhead. I was a rocker. So it took me, 6 months to warm up to the stuff. But I came around pretty fast, I would say.
I warmed up really fast to it because I did love the pop stuff of the 80s, but I was also listening to The Cure and Love and Rockets and REM. So
Jesus Jones and Depeche Mode and all that.
I latched on to this Nirvana thing immediately.
He did.
And in fact, I was listening to Alice in Chains and Soundgarden even before Nevermind came out.
Right. And being on the radio together, I kind of rubbed off on you with the heavier stuff. You were introducing me to the alternative stuff, starting out with the heavier alternative stuff.
Yeah.
So we were good for that with each other as far as that goes. Anyway, let's just, for discussion's sake, name like 5 or 6 songs from that era that you still think, man, these are just masterpieces.
Maybe Desert Island songs.
Yeah.
Look at it that way.
Okay, brilliant. Something in the Way.
Nice. Wrong. I love that song.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be hard for me. I always pick slow. I always pick ballads.
That's all right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, right.
What do you think about that?
Pearl Jam. Oh no, Pearl Jam. The one is it's the last song on 10. The about his dad. Release.
Yes, Release. Yeah.
And that's a long song, so that's good. It'll cover a lot of time.
And what a perfect song to end that record with.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I really liked Black a lot. When I first heard 10, I thought that was the best song on it.
Yeah. Then my favorite moment from their Unplugged was Porch. I really loved their performance of that.
Yeah.
That is great.
I interrupted you. Keep going.
Well, and I love that you said Unplugged. Can I take Jesus Doesn't Want Me for a Sunbeam?
Sure,
yeah.
Okay, that's on there. How many have I got? It's 3?
That's 3.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do Candlebox. I'm doing like Far Behind.
Okay.
Great song.
Or You. Yeah, probably Far Behind.
Yeah, I would pick Far Behind over You.
Okay, I'll go Far Behind.
That's my opinion. But this is your list, though. So.
This is my desert island.
Yeah.
Get your own desert island.
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to say a live song, but it's not going to be Lightning Crashes. This list is getting really slow and sad. It's going to be it's easy. No. I'm not. Don't put me singing.
I Alone.
I Alone.
Yeah.
I Alone. Yes.
Great choice.
It's going to be.
That's my favorite live song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's. No, what was the first song I heard? It was the first single. I'm drawing a blank now.
Selling the Drama.
Selling the Drama. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I really still love that one.
I love that.
That is a good one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, man, you get me thinking now. Maybe I do like that one better.
And, let's see. Oh, I just thought of one of an Alice in Chains. It's the lyric is it's one of my favorite lyrics, and I'm not going to think of it.
Off of Dirt.
Yeah, I think so.
Or Jar of Flies.
It's a real. It may be Jar of Flies. It's a real popular one. It's I Stayed Away. I Stay Away.
I Stay Away.
Yeah.
Great song.
That is a good one.
Yeah, I love the orchestration in that.
Yeah. That's the one where he starts out saying heading south or winter or something like that.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
What a great singer, though. And I think a lot of the vocalists don't get enough credit, or maybe they do. I don't know. But I think, Chris Cornell, amazing singer. I think top 5 in my opinion. Lane Staley was a ridiculously good singer. Hey, somebody you didn't mention him, maybe because you don't like him. Stone Temple Pilots. What did you think about
I like Stone Temple Pilots.
See, I love it.
I think I came to appreciate him, though, even more like... well, it may have been when he passed away. Honestly, I kind of dove deep back into it.
Yeah.
Because I also liked the friggin' band he did with Slash, too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, Velvet Revolver.
I love that. But...
Scout was an amazing singer.
But going back and listening to... And that was actually a fun band to go back and listen to as someone that I really only... watched on MTV. You know?
Well, what was interesting about them?
I like those songs.
Well, I was going to say what was interesting about them too is that it seemed like every album they had a mission. Like all their records are totally different from one another.
That's true.
And it was very kind of a Zeppelin-y kind of thing to do, in my opinion. I thought they had a vision and a mission with every record.
He seemed to change a lot because he seemed to start as like the
grungy kind of thing.
kid in a flannel, and then
turned into David Bowie.
He
turned into David Bowie by the end. It was weird, But very cool, yeah.
How many songs?
You covered enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
you named at least 5. You may even name 6. So that's all right.
A bonus song.
I'm worried about this island.
Yeah. You can bring along 6 in case you drop one in the ocean or something.
I hope there's no guns on this island. It's a depressing place. I'm joking. I love it. So, as music started changing in the 90s, which, it's funny because it seemed like that music lasted forever, but we talk about this all the time. Each little subgenre or whatever, it lasts about 5 years, and that's it. If you think about in context of, and I'm talking about like really in the mainstream, there's, bands like Pearl Jam are still around to this day. But that doesn't mean as far as a movement is concerned. So what did you listen to when that stuff started dying off? Did you continue to grow musically? And
Not one bit.
You just stayed in that. That was your...
That's the... And that was something that's always... And then as streaming and digital came into play, I felt even more cut off from like I didn't have any sources because my source used to be MTV,
right,
and the radio. And then once I wasn't listening to the radio or watching MTV anymore, I think and this is kind of thinking about it in the moment. I think I just kind of stopped having recommendations come my way,
right,
and I just kept listening to what I liked. And when the bands I liked put out new stuff, I got that.
Yeah. Which isn't uncommon, by the way. I think a lot of people do that. Look at the people that still listen to 80s metal. One thing you got to say about them is they're dedicated. They're loyal.
Yeah.
That is loyal.
Yeah. So people like Chris, and I use him as an example. You've always been able to progress. You've always listened.
Oh, always.
I mean, to this day, Chris brings new music. Listen to this. Check this out. And I love it.
Great.
I will admit readily, and I'm not proud of this, but I was a big Limp Bizkit Kid Rock fan because it was so new. It was different. I'm very much into new and different. And
I bought I bought that Limp Bizkit CD.
So you did kind of latch on to that at the time.
Oh, at the time, I took it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
Did it scare you like
It didn't. I think by then I was like
You were in your 20s,
old enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
In my 20s, married, maybe even having kids. It's like, yeah, I'll break something.
Nice. All right, so of all those bands that you mentioned, how many of them did you see live?
Oh, unfortunately, not many. I saw Candlebox, opened for Rush. I did see Pearl Jam, but not then. I saw Pearl Jam like mid 2000s.
And they're still a great live band.
Yeah, it was a fantastic show.
Sure.
It's funny, when I was in high school, I saw, was it Starwood?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw so
that
many
place.
classic.
Rest in
That's
peace.
where I saw Tom Petty.
Yeah.
And
I was probably at that show like 2004. That was an amazing show. And oddly enough, let me just interject this in. The hottest girls I've ever seen at a concert was at that Tom Petty show.
Beautiful.
It was crazy.
Respect. Yeah, that's
Respect, exactly. They know what's up.
Right.
awesome. That's great. And I feel like I saw Leonard Skinner multiple.
Okay, that's it. You got to leave.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm going to blame my friends. But
No, I like Leonard
I
Skinner.
saw Driving and Crying there.
Oh, you introduced me to them.
Nice.
That was cool.
Yeah,
That
I
was
love
cool.
them. Georgia band, Atlanta.
And that's
right?
one
right.
that that's a band that I'm still like, I'm so glad I lucked into hearing them,
Yeah.
Amazing band.
and I still listen to them a lot. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Cool.
But I didn't see. It's funny you ask, because I haven't seen a lot of. I'm wondering if there's this obvious one in my head that I'm not thinking of, but I haven't seen a lot of like grunge.
Well, I got a follow-up question.
bands.
All right, what would be, if you could go back in time, what would be your dream concert? Like this, I wish I would have seen this band in this year. On this tour or whatever.
Probably Pearl Jam,
Circa.
or it might be like REM. Circa Drive.
Yeah.
Automatic for the People.
Yeah, around
92,
91.
93.
Yeah.
Early 90s.
Because that's when I didn't hear REM until they blew up,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's when I started really listening and kind of devoured them at that point.
Very cool.
So yeah, it would probably be that like REM, like Monster tour or something.
Cool.
Like that.
Cool. That would have been 94.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And 94 is the year I actually graduated. That would have been my senior year. That would have been nice.
Cool.
So perfect.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, Darren and I, we loved both the metal and the new grunge coming out. So
Still do.
We got to see Skid Row.
Oh yes.
But who opened for them at night?
Soundgarden.
Soundgarden opened
man.
for Skid
Yep.
Row.
That's a great pair.
All right, I'm not done. Megadeth had Stone Temple
Temple
Pilots
Pilots.
open.
Oh my
Amazing.
gosh.
Van Halen
Yeah.
had Alice in Chains open.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we were at all those shows.
Yes, we
so
were.
we were seeing the crossover as it happened.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
What was
Yeah.
funny was those old school guys, they weren't intimidated by these bands.
Not at all,
They
yeah.
liked them.
Yeah.
They brought them out on the road with them, so they kind of knew that, hey, this is changing a little bit. They weren't scared of it. So
Yeah.
I
During
thought
that
was
time when we were in our 20s, there was a lot of like colleagues of ours who was just saying, "Oh, this is awful. This is not real
It's a
rock
fad.
and roll."
It's
yeah,
gonna
it's a
be
fad.
gone.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like they totally
Yeah.
rejected it.
And Ozzy Osbourne had Korn open for him.
That's right.
saw
And
Korn.
Rush, we saw a Rush show where Primus opened.
Yep, Primus and Candlebox. And
Yeah, yeah.
like we talked about. Yeah, so-
Yeah, I saw. This isn't grunge, but it's Mr. Big open for him.
Yeah,
Another
for
show.
Oh, yeah.
I was front row for that
Where-
show.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was second row. I was behind him. I got to see Rush in the back of his
I was in
head.
the lawn.
Nice. Well, this has been fun, man.
Yeah.
We've been
Yeah.
talking about
Thank you so much.
having you on the show, just to have that perspective. But also, dude, I loved your movie. I really did.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much. I appreciate that.
I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, and
Thank
you can
you.
find that on Amazon streaming, and
Yep,
is
it's-
Showtime still airing that?
It's still maybe streaming on Showtime.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool.
And
Yeah, so
definitely iTunes, anywhere you can buy.
yeah.
I highly
Digital.
recommend it. It's
Yeah.
freaking brilliant.
Yeah,
It
check
really
out
is.
International Falls. It's a
International
great
Falls.
movie. And all right, so I guess that'll wrap this one up then.
Yeah.
We'll be back again with another episode very soon.
Thanks for being here.
Take care.
Bye.
See you.